Why can Elasticsearch find a single word across billions of documents in milliseconds? The answer is not just indexing. It is a beautifully engineered stack of ideas: inverted indexes, immutable segments, file system cache, memory maps, and hardware-friendly I/O patterns. Think of it like the index at the back of a textbook. Instead of scanning every page, you look up a word and jump straight to the right pages. In this video, we will go all the way from your application code down to the kernel and disk to understand exactly how Lucene, the engine inside Elasticsearch, makes search fast. Let us start with the most basic question. Suppose we have 1 million documents, and we want to find every document containing the word Kafka. A naive approach scans every single document and checks whether that word exists. That is called a full scan, and it is painfully slow. Imagine searching for a name in a phone book by reading every single entry from the first page to the last. Nobody does that, because phone books are sorted alphabetically. Search engines use a similar trick, but even more powerful. Instead of storing only the mapping from document to words, they also store the reverse, a mapping from each word to the documents that contain it. That reverse mapping is called an inverted index. The word inverted simply means the relationship is flipped. A normal index says document 1 contains these words. An inverted index says the word Kafka appears in document 1, document 3, and document 97. This means to find all documents containing Kafka, we just look up one entry. No scanning. The lookup is nearly instant. In Lucene, the engine powering Elasticsearch, the fundamental building blocks are index, document, field, and term. A document is like a row in a database. It contains fields, and each field holds a value. For example, a blog post document might have a title field and a body field. During indexing, text fields are processed by an analyzer. Think of an analyzer as a small assembly line. First, a character filter cleans up the raw text, then a tokenizer splits it into individual tokens, and finally token filters transform them, for example, converting everything to lowercase. The output tokens become terms, the searchable units stored in the inverted index. Here is a key distinction. A text field is tokenized into many terms, so searching for any word in the sentence will match. A keyword field is stored as a single exact term, useful for filtering by status or category. Lucene also distinguishes between indexed fields, which go into the inverted index for searching, and stored fields, which preserve the original value for retrieval. A field can be both indexed and stored. When your application sends an index request to Elasticsearch, a whole pipeline kicks into motion. Imagine a conveyor belt in a factory. The document arrives as JSON over HTTP. Elasticsearch parses it, looks up the mapping for each field to decide the data type and analyzer, and then runs the analyzer chain we just described. The analyzer produces terms, and Lucene writes those terms and their postings into an in-memory buffer. Elasticsearch is not a single giant file. Under the hood, an Elasticsearch index is divided into shards, and each shard is actually a self-contained Lucene index. Think of shards like volumes of an encyclopedia, volume A through D, volume E through H, and so on. Each volume can be searched independently. Inside each shard, Lucene manages one or more segments, which are immutable mini-indexes. When enough data accumulates in the in-memory buffer, Lucene writes a new segment. Elasticsearch then performs a refresh, which simply opens that new segment for searching. This is why Elasticsearch is called near real-time. Documents become searchable within about 1 second by default, not because they are instantly written to disk, but because the new segment is opened for search from the file system cache. An inverted index is more than a simple word-to-document mapping. Let us look inside. For each term, Lucene stores a postings list. A posting is an entry that says, this term appears in this document. But postings can carry much more detail. Imagine a library card catalog. The basic entry tells you which books mention a topic, but a detailed entry also tells you the chapter, the page number, and even the paragraph. Similarly, Lucene postings can include the document ID, which is local to the segment, the term frequency, meaning how many times the term appears in that document, the positions, meaning where exactly in the text the term occurs, and optionally character offsets for highlighting. Why does this matter? Positions enable phrase queries. If you search for the exact phrase data replication, Lucene checks that the word data appears immediately before replication in the same document. Without positions, phrase queries would be impossible. Term frequency powers relevance scoring. A document mentioning Kafka 10 times is probably more relevant to a Kafka search than one mentioning it once. The term dictionary itself is typically organized as a sorted structure, so looking up a term is fast, similar to binary search in a sorted list. One of the most important design choices in Lucene is immutable segments. Instead of constantly rewriting one giant index file every time a document is added, Lucene creates new segments and later merges them in the background. Think of it like a notebook system. Instead of erasing and rewriting your entire notebook every time you take new notes, you just start a new page. Later, you consolidate by copying important notes into a cleaner, combined notebook. Each segment is a complete mini-index with its own term dictionary, postings lists, stored fields, and metadata. When you search, Lucene queries every segment in the shard and merges the results. Immutability has huge advantages. It simplifies concurrency because readers never conflict with writers. It enables sequential writes, which are friendly to storage hardware. And it improves crash safety because a segment is either fully written or not. The downside is that over time, many small segments accumulate. That is where segment merging comes in. Lucene runs background merge threads that combine smaller segments into larger ones, reducing the total segment count and improving search efficiency. This is the most commonly confused topic in Elasticsearch. There are 3 operations that sound similar but do very different things: refresh, flush, and commit. Let us use an analogy. Imagine you are writing a book. A refresh is like showing your latest draft pages to a friend. The pages are not printed or bound yet, but your friend can read them. A flush and commit is like sending those pages to the printer and getting a receipt. Now the pages are permanently saved. Here is what actually happens. When documents are indexed, they go into an in-memory buffer. A refresh creates a new Lucene segment from that buffer and opens it for searching. Critically, refresh does not guarantee the data is on disk. The segment may only exist in the operating system file system cache. By default, Elasticsearch refreshes every 1 second on active indices, which is why search is near real-time. A flush is a heavier operation. It triggers a Lucene commit, which writes a commit point, ensuring segments are durably persisted via an fsync system call. It also rolls over the transaction log, called the translog. The translog is like a safety journal. Every indexing operation is written to the translog first. If the node crashes before a flush, Elasticsearch replays the translog on startup to recover any uncommitted operations. So remember, refresh equals search visibility, flush equals durability boundary. Now let us trace the full path from application to hardware when indexing a document. Think of it as following a letter through the postal system. You write the letter, that is your application sending JSON. The post office sorts it, that is Elasticsearch parsing, mapping, and analyzing. Then it goes into a delivery truck, that is Lucene writing to the in-memory buffer and then creating a segment file. At the top of the stack, your application sends a bulk index request over HTTP. Elasticsearch receives it in the JVM, using around 10 to 50 megabytes of heap per bulk batch for parsing and analysis. CPU cycles are spent on tokenization, lowercasing, and building in-memory posting structures. When Lucene writes segment data, it calls write system calls. But the bytes do not go straight to disk. They first land in the operating system page cache, which is a region of RAM managed by the kernel. The kernel decides when to actually flush those pages to the physical storage device. An fsync system call forces the write to be durable. Below the kernel sits the block layer and the storage driver. On modern NVMe SSDs, parallel I/O queues handle thousands of operations per second with sub-millisecond latency. This entire pipeline, from JSON to NAND flash, takes just a few milliseconds per document. Now let us follow a search query from start to finish. Imagine you are at a library reference desk. You ask the librarian for all books about Kafka and timeouts. The librarian checks the card catalog for each word, finds the matching book lists, then intersects them to find books containing both words. That is essentially what Lucene does. Your application sends a query, say a Boolean query for Kafka, and timeout. The Elasticsearch coordinating node routes the query to the relevant shards. Each shard runs the query against every segment. For each segment, Lucene looks up Kafka in the term dictionary, retrieves its postings list, then does the same for timeout. To satisfy the AND, Lucene intersects the two postings lists, finding document IDs that appear in both. For each match, Lucene may compute a relevance score using BM25, which considers term frequency, how often the term appears in all documents, and the document length. Each shard returns its top K results, and the coordinating node merges them into a final sorted list. Source retrieval, fetching the original JSON, is a separate read from stored fields. To truly understand Lucene performance, you need to understand the operating system page cache. Think of the page cache as a speedreader's desk. Instead of walking to the bookshelf every time you need a page, you keep recently read pages spread out on your desk for quick access. The OS does the same thing with file data. It keeps recently accessed file pages in RAM. When Lucene reads a segment file, the OS first checks the page cache. If the data is there, a cache hit, the read completes in microseconds with no disk I/O. If not, a cache miss, the kernel loads the page from disk, which takes around 100 microseconds on an SSD. Lucene can access segment files using memory mapped I/O via the map system call. Map maps a file directly into the process virtual address space. When Lucene accesses a mapped address, if the corresponding page is not in memory, the CPU triggers a page fault, and the kernel transparently loads the page from disk into the page cache. This avoids explicit read system calls and extra buffer copies. A critical point, the page cache is shared OS memory, completely separate from the JVM heap. This is why Elasticsearch documentation recommends giving only half the system RAM to the JVM heap and leaving the rest for the OS page cache. On Linux, what looks like free memory is often intentionally used as cache, and that cache is essential for search performance. Hardware matters. Lucene is designed to be friendly to modern storage. Think of the difference between reading a book cover to cover versus flipping to random pages. Reading sequentially is much faster, and the same applies to storage devices. Lucene writes new segments sequentially, which plays perfectly with SSDs and NVMe drives. NVMe drives can sustain 3 to 5 gigabytes per second of sequential throughput and handle hundreds of thousands of IOPS, which stands for input-output operations per second. Segment merges also produce sequential write patterns. Lucene reads old segments sequentially, combines them, and writes a new larger segment. However, merges cause write amplification. The same data is rewritten multiple times as it moves through merged tiers. This costs CPU and disk bandwidth. More segments means more file handles, more per segment overhead, and more work during queries. Merges reduce segment count but cost resources. Tuning the merge policy is about balancing indexing throughput against search latency and I/O pressure. For hot search data, the page cache absorbs most reads. For cold data, you depend on raw disk speed. Is Elasticsearch CPU heavy or RAM heavy? The honest answer is, it depends entirely on your workload. Think of a kitchen. Some recipes are chopping heavy, that is CPU. Some need lots of counter space, that is RAM. Some require constant oven use, that is disk. And some need ingredients from the store, that is network. For heavy log ingestion, the bottleneck is often CPU because analyzers, tokenization, compression, and segment merges all consume CPU cycles. A single merge thread can saturate one core. For full-text search with scoring, the bottleneck shifts to CPU plus page cache. If the index fits in the page cache, searches are fast. If not, the system becomes disk-bound as reads fall through to storage. Aggregations on high cardinality fields can be extremely memory-intensive, using doc value structures that need to be loaded into memory. And for large distributed queries across many shards, network latency adds up. The key takeaway, never ask is Elasticsearch CPU or RAM heavy in isolation. Instead, ask for my specific workload. What is the bottleneck? Monitor merge times, cache hit rates, heap pressure, garbage collection pauses, and search latency percentiles to find the answer. Let us make this concrete with examples every engineer should know. First, analyze text fields. If you index a paragraph with 100 words, the analyzer produces up to 100 terms, each with postings. That means CPU work during indexing and more disk space. Keyword fields produce exactly one term per value, so they are cheaper. Second, shard count. Too many shards means each shard holds fewer documents but carries fixed overhead, segment metadata, caches, thread pools, and file descriptors. A common guideline is to keep shard sizes between 10 and 50 gigabytes. Third, refresh interval. With the default 1-second refresh, write-heavy workloads create many tiny segments, causing merge storms. Setting the refresh interval to 30 seconds reduces segment churn and improves indexing throughput at the cost of slightly delayed search visibility. Fourth, page cache starvation. If you give the JVM too much heap, say 28 gigabytes on a 32 gigabyte machine, the OS has almost no RAM left for page cache. Search latency spikes because every segment read hits disk instead of cache. The standard recommendation is to give the JVM at most half the system RAM. Finally, monitor your merge metrics. If merge time dominates, your cluster is I/O bound, and you may need faster disks or fewer shards. Here is the mental model to carry with you. Your application sends documents. Elasticsearch applies mappings and analyzers. Lucene writes immutable segments containing inverted indexes. Refresh makes new segments searchable. Flush and commit ensure durability. The operating system page cache and storage hardware determine much of your real-world speed. To tune Elasticsearch, think in 4 paths. The CPU path for analysis and scoring, the memory path for page cache and heap, the disk path for segments and merges, and the network path for distributed queries. Search performance is systems engineering. Thank you for watching.